What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to make a feedback video because I feel like there are currently a couple huge missed opportunities when it comes to Modern Warfare 2. So let's lay out the problem I'm trying to provide some feedback for here. And this problem is that, especially in recent years with Call of Duty, and Modern Warfare 2 is no exception, there is a massive demand for Shipment 24/7 or Shoot the Ship 24/7. Basically, it seems like a massive portion of the community really wants a high-action, chaotic sort of mode where there are constant gunfights to be found with little to no downtime in between them. Now, I feel the majority of the people that want this 24/7 tiny map chaotic playlist like Shipment 24/7, typically they want this for efficiency for their camo grind. That's what it's all about, is being able to hop in, get a ton of kills really quickly so you can grind through those camo challenges or just grind weapon XP really quickly as well. And I'd be really curious to see what the player counts are when Shipment 24/7 is around compared to the other modes. I think there's actually a pretty large portion of the player base that gravitates toward that, partially for that faster camo and weapon XP grind, but also I feel like something that's happened over the years is with people playing so much Shipment, I kind of feel like their expectations for how often they should be getting gunfights have gone up compared to the older years of Call of Duty. Back in the day when there wasn't so much focus put on Shipment 24/7 and it would only come around as maybe a special playlist, I feel like people's attention span was generally a lot longer back in the day. And unfortunately, I feel like the cat's out of the bag on this one. I don't know if we'd be able to go back and sort of retrain people to expect a bit of a slower pace and a bit more time between gunfights. And I know for a lot of people, many of the gameplay design decisions in Modern Warfare 2 have caused things to slow down a fair amount, and therefore anything but Shipment or Shoot House 24/7 is simply too slow for them. Now, I personally find this to be a bit unfortunate that things have gone this way with the franchise, but that's how things appear to be, and honestly, I feel like they may as well just start leaning into this and providing other options to get a similar level of chaos in other modes so you're not just playing literally the same map over and over again. And we've actually seen some great solutions to this in recent Call of Duty games. Last year, with Call of Duty Vanguard, they introduced combat pacing, which had different player counts depending on which pacing option you chose. So if you wanted to choose Blitz, which had the highest player count number, you would get a pretty chaotic experience on all of the maps in the game. They even advertised it as every map feeling like Shipment, and I feel like that was excellent because that provides people that chaos while also providing them with variety. Additionally, when we look back to Cold War, they did something a little bit different. Instead of offering an increased player count on these 6v6 maps, what they did is they brought in a bunch of 2v2 maps and they allowed 6v6 face-off on those, so you could play 6v6 on a variety of tiny maps that are somewhat similar in size to Shipment. So when it comes to Modern Warfare 2, the first thing that I would love to see is when Season 3 launches, 2v2 gunfight is confirmed to be coming to the game. When they do this, I hope they're willing to follow suit with what Cold War did and provide the ability to play 6v6 respawn on these gunfight maps. Now, if these gunfight maps turn out to be more along the lines of what we saw in Modern Warfare 2019, most of them would likely be a bit too small for 6v6, so if that doesn't work, if they do follow suit with that map design and 6v6 would be way too chaotic even, maybe even just 4v4 respawn, that could work as well. I could see that playing quite well within the Modern Warfare 2019 gunfight maps. And that would not only stretch out the usefulness of the gunfight maps and allow more people to experience them even if they're not interested in 2v2, it would also provide an excellent place to get that chaotic gameplay without always having to rely on Shipment 24/7. Additionally, if they were to do this face-off style playlist, another thing I really like that Cold War did, and I'd hope they'd follow suit here, is lock the ability to use kill streaks or score streaks within this mode. Those maps are simply way too small, and kill streaks just completely take over as soon as you earn one. And like I said, most people are there just to level up their guns or to get camos done. So I would prefer if they locked kill streaks out of this, and therefore the main focus is just gun-on-gun action, getting that XP, and getting those camo challenges completed quickly. So that's the first thing that I really hope they're willing to do once we see the introduction of gunfight, but obviously this is something that we'll have to wait and see. However, there's another thing that I want to recommend here that could be done right now, and this is something I've been asking for since the game launched, and I'd still love to see this. This would be the reintroduction of a traditional Call of Duty Ground War mode. And what I mean by traditional is not the mode that was introduced in Modern Warfare 2019 called Ground War, and we're currently seeing that similar sort of thing with Modern Warfare 2 called Ground War. Instead, I'm talking about traditional Ground War, where you play on the regular 6v6 maps, but the player count is just increased, so it's 9 versus 9, or perhaps 10 versus 10. Now, obviously, they wouldn't be able to call this Ground War because we already have a Ground War mode in the game, so perhaps they could just call this Blitz, kind of as a throwback to Vanguard with its combat pacing. However, unlike Vanguard, I don't think combat pacing is the right way to go here, largely because it just splits the player base up too much. You get too much fragmentation with all the different modes and then all the different combat pacing options, and that was one of the big downsides of combat pacing last year. So instead, I'd like to see them just bring back the same old Ground War that we used to have back in the day. Make it so it's literally just one option, perhaps one option for core, one option for hardcore, and just make it a mosh pit. Make it team deathmatch, kill confirmed, and domination, and every time you search, you're gonna get one of those game modes on any one of the 6v6 maps in the game. And I think that would be excellent for Modern Warfare 2 because there's several maps in this game that I feel like aren't bad maps by any means, but they are kind of bad maps for 6v6. They play just a little too slow for 6v6, and I think the best example for this is Museum. This map, in my experience, almost always goes to the time limit. It's insane how slow this map plays because it's simply way too big for 6v6. Part of that is also their spawn design, the way their spawn points are laid out. It can often take a little too long to get back in the action from where they spawn you. But even though it plays really slow for 6v6, and I'm generally not a big fan of this map for 6v6, I think it would play great for 9 versus 9 or 10 versus 10, for instance. And I really don't think it's a poorly designed map overall. It's just 6 players isn't enough to keep constant action with the way everything is laid out and with how large it is. But that's just talking about an outlier. Even a lot of the standard 6v6 maps in the game, or like the medium to smaller maps like Farm 18 or Mercado, for instance, while they do have a pretty decent pace for 6v6, I think they could handle 9 versus 9 no problem. I think it would still play really well, it wouldn't be overly chaotic, but there would be a lot more action on it that people are clearly craving. So there we go, those are my 2 bits of feedback that I really wanted to share today. I feel like doing both of these things would go a long way. Not only would it stretch out the game's content so it could be enjoyed by a wider variety of players that are looking for a particular experience, whether that be with the 2v2 gunfight maps for players that aren't interested in 2v2 and they like respawn game modes. If they have a face-off playlist, suddenly those players can experience that content, and they'll get a lot more use out of that content. Same thing goes for the 6v6 maps. For all those people that refuse to play anything but Shipment 24/7, I think many of them would at least give this Blitz-style mode a shot if it were introduced into the game, and we could play 9 versus 9 or 10 versus 10 on the regular 6v6 maps. Now, of course, these are just my opinions and some things that I feel would solve that problem of people craving that really chaotic sort of Call of Duty experience that is currently only really offered with Shipment 24/7. But of course, I'm curious to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. What do you think about the ideas I presented in today's video? And if you are one of those super heavy Shipment 24/7 grinders, if they were to add modes like the ones I suggested here, would that be enough to pull you out of the Shipment 24/7 experience so that you could experience a lot more of the content in the game while still getting that chaos that you're looking for? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.